So, the history of the modern day financial system starts in the year 1911, and that number is very significant, which we'll come to later on. So in 1911, the US government took J.D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil Company off him. Now, despite the fact that that was actually the most profitable move in his entire career, because they broke Standard Oil up into a number of other companies like BP and Esso and Texaco and Chevron and all that, it wasn't about the money, because he was already the richest individual in the world. It was the principle that they had taken his baby off him and there was nothing that he could do about it. And he was absolutely incensed by this. But knowing what I know now, and we know that he was already in with this cabal network way before that. So this just simply motivated him to go forward. So 1911, the US government takes Standard Oil off J.D. Rockefeller. 1912, he was just like, right, well, I need to get back at the US government for taking my company off him, so I'm gonna fuck them over by creating a central bank. So literally the following year, he proposed a central bank. But when you come up with a proposal of a central bank, there are obviously going to be objectors to it, because you are centralizing power into the hands of a few. So he was just like, right, who are these main objectors then? So the main objectors to his central bank proposal were Benjamin Guggenheim, Isidor Straus, and Jacob Astor. And conveniently, all three died the following year on the sinking of the Olympic. And when I say it was the Olympic, it's because we all know that the Titanic was the most famous fraud in modern day financial history. And just as an aside here, I personally think that waking the normies up, or those who were asleep, is probably going to come from making them realize that the Titanic was a fraud. Because they drill it into everybody. Oh, the Titanic, the unsinkable ship, the Titanic. It was a fraud. And we all know that the Olympic, which was the White Star Line's flagship, had extended bridge wings, it had custom windows on B deck, and mainly it actually had the name Olympic engraved into the bow of the ship. So they had to stick a nameplate over it. But when they sank it, because, and again, the question is, like, how do we know it's the Olympic that's down there? Well, the fact is, the Olympic had two accidents. First of all, HMS Hawke drove into the stern. And what that did is it bent the propeller shaft, basically meaning the ship was an economic write-off. And then it also plowed into the Nantucket lifeboat. So the question is, like, if that wasn't the Olympic that's down there, how on earth could a ship that's been so badly damaged have no record of repair and go on to serve for the next 20 years without any repairs? Like, absolutely ridiculous. So one of the reasons that they won't let any submersibles down there to actually film the ship anymore is because one of the submersibles went searching for the nameplate. And since 1912, the middle of the nameplate has rusted off, and it picked up the letters engraved into the bow as M and P, which stands for Olympic. That is undeniable. It is the Olympic that's down there. And when the normies find out about that, they are going to be like, hold on a minute, are you kidding me? Because when they find out that both the UK government and the US government were involved in covering up this fraud, they're going to be like, hold on a minute, that's going to put the seeds of doubt in their mind. If they're going to cover that up because it was so obviously a fraud, what else are they going to cover up? Maybe they're not as innocent as I thought they were. So anyway, with the main objectors to the central bank out of the way, they then created the Federal Reserve in 1913. And if you want to make a killing, pardon the pun, because you own a central bank that can print currency from nothing and therefore print your own profits, what you need to do is somehow justify that. And if you want to make a killing, the companies that make the most profit are those with consumable products with the largest profit margins. And ironically, those happen to be weapons. So it's no coincidence that they created the central bank in 1913 and then World War I started the following year in 1914.